Welcome to the HGC, the Hardcore Giveaway and Gamers Club channel. Today's video is a remake of the rushed clean out of the Xbox One. This video is how to open, disassemble, and clean your Xbox One without damaging anything. So, not real hard to do. Limited tools. You'll need a T10 Torx driver, a T8 Torx driver, and a Spudger of some sort. A butter knife will work in the place of the Spudger. Use the fat end of the or strong end of the Spudger to remove the lower grade, which is on the side with the sync button control. Now, to remove this one piece here, you're going to have to lift up slightly the sync button and then gently push the plastic retainer clip forward and it comes right out. Don't lose this piece, otherwise you'll be stuck with syncing your controllers via USB only. Alright, so there's a clip right here. This clip can easily be undone by simply taking your fingers and using a separating motion. Place two fingers here, your thumb here, and then push in the middle portion here. That'll usually separate it. You'll want to remove your seal. Obviously this voids any warranty. You should not be opening your system unless your warranty is no longer in effect. Okay, so let's get you a little bit closer here. There's going to be a tab directly beneath the warranty seal. That one's already popped. We're going to go here. There's three more tabs. You'll go in and release the three tabs. Sometimes just a downward pressure right where I'm putting the Spudger will do it. At this point, just take your fingers and separate the rest of the way. Be very careful, don't just rip it open. You should definitely watch this video start to finish before you do this. Okay, very gently and very carefully open this up. There's a ribbon cable attaching the top to the faceplate to the front of the box. That is so easily ripped. It is not funny. If you accidentally drop this lid, you will rip it. You see how it tweaks right there? Very easily ripped. Absolutely must be 100% very, very careful. Now, the best thing to do at this point is to remove the tabs or pop the tabs that hold the upper lid to the faceplate. You'll do this by holding the faceplate down to the table and very gently, just using your finger, pull the tabs forward. You'll feel them click like so, and then put your finger on the faceplate, lift up one corner and wiggle it up. You may need to use your finger to find any tabs that re-clicked back into place, and then the top will lift right off. You'll definitely want to clean the dirt off of that. As you can see, it's built up pretty good. Alright, so at this point, the safest bet for you is to go ahead and remove the ribbon cable so that you don't risk ripping it. You'll definitely want to do this very, very careful and keep everything organized so you can remember where things go and in what order. So you should definitely have a nice open work area. Alright, so lift the faceplate up very gently. Bring it toward the box as if you was going to put it back on. Turn the box around facing you. And then take the faceplate off. Slide it just slightly underneath the front. Very gently set it down. Now you're going to remove the ribbon cable from the RF board. Alright, see the little ring loop around the retainer clip, just pull that forward. Take your T8 and very gently push the locking tab away, and with all likelihood your ribbon is just going to fall right out like that. If not, just very gently wiggle it, it'll pop free. Okay, so looky here, we got one of your most, oh, look who's coming along here. Kill any of them little suckers you find. Don't let them get away. People's mentioned to me about dust being on my workbench. That's not dust. That's a product that I make to prevent any roaches that get away from me from surviving. It'll also kill anything roaming around after the fact, although I don't let any of them ever get away. Okay, while I'm looking for something here, I'm gonna let you know that I do giveaways. I give away at least $100 a month on this channel, so definitely check out my active giveaways. Alright, I'm gonna use a small camera, look down in here, see if there's any packed in roaches. Roaches love to have something above and below them in a nice cramped corner. They love living directly behind the RF board, which is one of the major causes of your controllers not syncing and power issues, along with the ribbon cable itself. So I wanted to make sure there wasn't a million in there. If there was, I would have taken it outside and cleaned it up. Okay, don't look like there's a whole bunch in there, so we're good to go ahead and remove this inside my shop. Alright, so you got some T10 screws. Oop, I found another roach running. Never let them get away. Kill, kill, kill. Alright, so at this point you want to take the T8 security torque and remove your little circuit board right here. This is your Wi-Fi and sync controller there. Alright, you have to remove that first because there's a long screw underneath it. Next you're going to remove your antenna cable and your little noisemaker. This is real simple. It's just a clip on. I don't recommend unplugging that from the RF board. The plug that goes to the RF board is very loosely put on and will break very easily, so just be very careful with it and leave it the way it is. Take your T10 Torx, put it into your screws. You're going to turn to your left. Lefty loosey, righty tighty. Turn to your left only. Remove the screws, holding it down. And yes, I am narrating this after the fact, so it's really hard to make videos around here. I always have somebody here 24 hours a day and they're always making noise, so I have to do this late at night or really early in the morning when everybody's still asleep or at school. Right now it's really early in the morning. I'm sitting here drinking my second cup of coffee. Alright, so at this point you're going to lift the housing, move it to the side just a little bit, and detach the cable from the inside. Now, some people show taking the screws off of that. Absolutely not necessary. I wouldn't recommend it. Okay, so take your speaker, set it off to the side out of the way so that you don't break it or rip your port off. Lift up the upper housing, move it to the right slightly. You'll see the power cord right there at the back corner. You're just going to reach in, pinch, grab, wiggle, and pull. Take your time. It'll pop right out. And then you're going to set your upper metal housing off to the side. Okay, so now we have access to the inside of the box. You had roaches, do a good inspection all the way around. See if there's any live crawlies that might be running around and escaping. This one's got a few dead ones in it. Likely what caused the game system's issue. This is not the dirtiest box I've seen. It's actually not all that bad. So we already pretty much know what was going on with this. Roach infestation. Roaches will actually eat the green portion of the board. Okay. At this point, that the whole metal frame is no longer attached to the lower, so I removed it. Normally I won't even pull that out unless it's really bad dirty or there's roaches. At this point we need to kill some roaches and clean that up a little bit. You can take a dry bristle brush and get rid of anything that's loose in there. Air compressor, blow it off. You can use your mouth for that if you like. For blowing it, not licking it, please. Alright, so at this point we want to go ahead and remove the RF board just to make sure there's no roach poo or anything behind there. On a standard clean out you would not remove this. You just simply remove the disk drive and the hard drive temporarily, long enough to take it outside, take an air compressor, can of air, blow out all the dust, and then start reassembling. But because this box has roaches in it, I'm going to remove this. So there's 3 T8s, and this thing will unplug. Just gently wiggle it until the plug pops free. Plug is at the end of a little extension there, and you can easily break that, so be very gentle, take your time, wiggle it slowly, and it'll come right out for you. Alright, now remember, don't break your wires and don't bother unplugging that. It's not that big of a deal. The disk drive comes right out very easily. It's got it's got a power cord and a SATA cable that just unplugs, and the whole thing will lift right out. I recommend you never ever open these drives. They're very good airtight. They very rarely, even with some of the dirtiest boxes, very rarely have a lot of dirt inside, so don't open it up. 99% of the time, if you do, it'll quit reading the games, so don't open it up. Just very gently wipe it off. You've seen how I brushed it a little bit with the dry bristle brush. And then the hard drive, that you don't want to use an air compressor on. You want to use a dry bristle brush and use it very gently. You don't want to get dust or dirt inside that drive, so be gentle with it. There is a little air hole in it, but there's also a little filter in it too, so you don't want to get dirt inside there. The smallest speck of dust on the platter will destroy the system. Now, on these game systems, they draw air into the box underneath the heatsink and then up through the box. So the all your dust buildup is going to be under here, underneath the heatsink, between the motherboard and it. So that's what you need to clean out. Get all that dust off. See them little grains? That's what's in the air. Covering the box is not going to do any good. Alright, so before you blow it out, I recommend you unplug the power cord. Don't forget to plug it back in. This way, when you're blowing or blasting the air through with an air compressor or your canned air, you don't get the fan spinning up fast enough, because it is a magnetic and electromagnetic motor fan, which means if you blow enough air in it and get that thing spinning, it'll actually produce electricity and backflow it into the board. Now, they do have diodes that will prevent this, but they're not designed to take any good amount of electricity in the wrong direction. So you can burn that out, and then you'll wind up burning up your thermal regulator, which will cause your box to think it's overheating when it's not, and then you have a box that will never work. So right here at this point, I can take this out and clean it out. Now, these are T8s. They go to the X clamp that goes below the heatsink. Don't take that apart. If you get to this point, if you take that apart, with all likelihood you're going to damage your system. These ridges here are to make the bottom very strong so that it doesn't flex or anything. All of that garbage about the X clamps allowing the board to flex was total garbage, lies, just to sell you bolt kits and stuff like that. Right? Here's all your ports. If you have any issues, you should always check your ports first. All right. Xbox 360, or excuse me, the Xbox Ones actually came with really good HDMI ports, unlike Sony, which used the cheapest port on the market. And although they are breakable if you drop them or tweak them, I have yet to have a broken HDMI port on a Xbox One, whereas I've already repaired about 70 or 80 HDMI ports on the PS4s, mainly because they're crap and will break if you put the port in even the slightest bit crooked. So anytime you have a PS4, if you unplug the HDMI port, plug it back in very, very gently and very slowly. Treat it like glass, because I'm telling you, it is. Alright, so at this point, after it's cleaned out, look through the top. You should be able to see the board underneath from the top. If at any point you can't, then you know you need to do some more cleaning. Alright, you want it absolutely clean. Now, when I was doing this originally, I'm doing something else here. This is to make the inside of the box a little less hospitable to roaches, and I will be talking about that later. It's actually a non-toxic pest control that the roaches don't like and will avoid, and if they get it on them, it'll kill them. Alright, so because I was focusing on making this video, I forgot to plug the fan in, so I did have to open it up later. At this point, plug your fan in. After you're done cleaning it, plug it in right away. Make certain you plug it in. Alright, now I'm going to take a little bit more of this dust, and I'm going to put a little bit on the outer stuff. Now this stuff, you can squirt this stuff right in your mouth. It wouldn't hurt you in the slightest. As a matter of fact, what I'm using is actually used in a lot of the grain silos to prevent bugs in it. So if you're 17 years old, I would say you've probably already ingested about 1.5 pounds of that stuff, possibly 2 pounds. So it's also used for deworming chickens and all kind of other stuff. It'll kill anything with an exoskeleton. I'm going to be making a video of talking about that stuff later for my how to eliminate cockroaches in your home. in a later video. Okay, so once you get the box cleaned out, all you need to do is set this back into the lower housing. Make sure it settles all the way in, and then we're going to put back the RF board. Now, there's no screws that hold the metal housing to the lower housing. All of the screws that hold the metal upper housing to the lower housing are that go through the upper metal shield. Right now I was just talking about roaches loving to be behind the RF boards. So I put a little bit of the powder on the back side of the board, and as you've seen, I put a little bit of powder on the board itself, and then basically blew it off so that there's just a very, very fine amount just right there in the one spot. Again, roaches do not like that stuff, so they'll avoid it, and it helps keep them from going in your system. It won't stop them, but it'll help keep them from making a nesting area of your box. Okay, so always keep track of your tools. Took me a second to find my T8. Very gently start with the center hole, turn to the right a little bit, and then turn to the left. Oh, excuse me. Turn your driver slightly to the left a little bit, and then to the right. That'll line up the threads of the screw and make it go in nice and easy. So you're going to put the screw in, turn it slightly to the left. You'll feel it click, and then turn it to the right, and it will go right in. Now, this is not a car. Don't torque these things in super tight. They only need to go in until it stops, and then just snug it up. It does not need to be torqued down. Just slightly tight is fine. Not real loose, but slightly tight. Again, don't forget to plug your fan in like I did, because I was too busy worrying about whether or not the box and what I was doing was in the middle of the screen for this video. So we're going to pretend like I just plugged that fan in and then put the hard drive on. Make sure all of the mounts go into the holes that are provided on the board. See that? The drive's too far back. There we go. Okay. Plug up the SATA cables and the power supply cables. Make sure they're all the way in. You don't want to have to reopen your box. Everything's nice and flush all the way down, just the way it came out. This is how I mark the boxes for my repairs. So I know everything about the box. It's actually a computer file number, lets me know everything about the system, serial numbers, everything. Okay, so I'm going to put the upper lid on, I believe, at this point. Take your dry bristle brush, knock off all the loose dust. These things don't have to be absolutely spotless. We but you do want to get rid of all of the loose dust on them. Plug this cable in. Don't forget to plug in all the cables. This can be a little bit tricky because you're working with a small area, but take your time. Make sure the plug goes all the way in and it's all the way down, and it'll go right on. Now you'll see that there is still roach poo on these things. That stuff is extremely hard to clean off, and I am not going to wash the system. Absolutely. So now take your long T10s, stick them in the box. They should all slide in nice and easy. Go all the way down and stick up about 1/4 of an inch. If they go in nice and easy just like that, you'll know that everything's lined up and everything's in the proper position inside. If you have trouble putting them things in and they're sticking way out, then you know something's not lined up properly. So let's take a look. See, it's about as high up as my finger. So about 1/4 of an inch, maybe 1/2 inch above the top of the box. They'll all be the same height. That'll let you know that everything inside is lined up. Turn your screwdriver to the right, like as if you're going to remove it, and then turn it to the left after you feel it lined up with the threads. You're screwing into plastic, so you don't want to cross thread it. Slightly to the right, then to the left. Excuse me, slightly to the left, like as if you're going to take it out, and then once you feel it click, turn it to the right. That means your thread's lined up, and it'll go straight in nice and easy. It'll prevent you from stripping out the plastic threads of the lower case. And again, you're only going to go down until it stops and then slightly snug. You do not want to try and torque these things down. It's absolutely not necessary. All you'll wind up doing is stripping the threads or snapping off the thread at the bottom of the box. So remember, when you go to put them in, you're going to turn it to the left like you're removing it, and then turn it to the right until it goes all the way down, snug it slightly, and you're good. Okay, so we got that. We're going to take and put back the speaker. It simply slides right in place and clicks down. No screws for that. Alright, let me show you how this works. It's got 2 pins. It'll slide into the 2 holes, and then it's got a spring retention type clip. There you go. See that? Nice and simple. Now we're going to take your Wi-Fi board, which also runs your sync for your controllers through it as well, and we're going to plug that in and put back the RF antenna. Get this to focus a little bit. There we go. Now these can be a little bit tricky. You want to get them right over the top. They should click on nice and easy. If you're having trouble, move it around a little bit. Try not to force them on. You don't want to damage them. You just want to make sure they're directly over the top, and it's just as simple as pushing down. If it's right on place, it will go right into place. Sorry about the focus. There we go. And then check to make sure it's all the way down and in place and not going to fall off. Okay. So we're all good there. Now we're going to take and put our T8s in the board. Now again, you're screwing into plastic, so go a little bit to the left. You'll feel a little click, and then turn it to the right. If it feels like it's going in super tight, back it up, do it again. slightly snug them down. A little bit to the left, turn to the right. They'll go in nice and gentle. You won't strip anything. Okay, time to put the faceplate back on. This is a very delicate task. You don't want to rip or tear that ribbon in any way. Yeah, so again, just in case you didn't hear me earlier, I do give away game systems on this channel. If you have a game system that's broken down and you are able to drop it off because you don't plan on selling it, you just plan on throwing it in the trash, swing it by. If I can fix it up, I'll give it away. If I feel it's worthy of giving away, I'll give it away. Or use its parts for somebody to get a free or cheaper repair. Alright, see that clip? It comes out and it'll actually lift up a little bit like that. It makes it easier to install the power ribbon and eject sensor. And you want to be very gentle with it. Here's your power button. There's your power light. This is the ribbon connection here. You want to line up with the drive, and that's the back side of the ribbon there. Got a little bit of garbage on it. I'm going to clean that up a little bit. That's the other side, so you know you're not going to get it mixed up. One side's going to be all blue, the other side you'll be able to see that it's a little bit on the gray right there where the clips are. So slide this underneath, and then clip it in. Hold on. I just realized I didn't clean off the roach poo here. So we want to get as much of that off as you can. It's extremely hard to get off without really like putting these things in a sonic bath, so clean it off best you can. With it just being on the tabs, it's not going to really affect anything, but yeah, you don't want it on your ribbon, and the more you can get out, the better. With all likelihood, this box, once he gets it home, will be reinfested and be worse, so I'm not going to uber clean this box. Just clean it up enough to where it's functional. Okay, so lift up your tab, and then you're going to slightly give it a little bit of a tweak, just like that, and then plug it in. Now this is not an easy task with a camera in your hand, so you're not going to be videoing it. This will be a lot easier for you. There we go. You're going to take and slide that in place. Make sure it's nice and straight, and the retainer ring goes all the way to the other side of the clip. Push the clip down, push it in place, and it should just click right into place. Now see, the ring is completely around and seated inside, and the ribbon is centered, so we know that's on right. If you have an issue with it turning on or off, and I do recommend you test it at this point before you put the upper lid on. You can just put the faceplate on like this, nice and loose, plug it up, turn it on for a second. If everything's functioning with your power ribbon, then you're good to go. and then go ahead and put the lid on. Now before, I showed putting the lid on with the faceplate attached to the upper lid. I was in a rush. It is much easier if you put the upper lid on first. Simply line it up after cleaning it. Simply line it up with the top, and it will go straight down, nice and flush, just like that. Perfect. Very easy. And then set the bottom part of the faceplate in place. You see these tabs, some of them might catch at the top, so if they do, just as you're closing it, simply just push down on whichever ones that might catch the top, and then all you need to do is just push it forward and it will lock itself right into place. There you go. Easy peasy. And then, and only after your faceplate is on all the way, put on the clip for your sync button. That round thing right there in the middle is actually what the sync button pushes down on. Now this needs to be nice and centered in there, and it'll slide right into place very easily. See that? Alright, now test your sync button, make sure it's on the right place. Take your lower vent, put it on, and you're done. It is just as simple as that. Alright, stay safe, happy gaming, and don't forget about my giveaways. Go check out my active giveaways.